Well, welcome to the 700 Club. Rescue and relief teams are moving in after Hurricane Milton battered Florida overnight. The storm came ashore near Sarasota with 120-mile-an-hour winds. More than 3 million people are without power.
Before Milton made landfall, the storm spawned dozens of tornadoes, damaging homes and taking a number of lives. Lori Johnson brings us the latest.
Hurricane Milton came ashore with winds of more than 120 miles an hour, making landfall near Sarasota at about 8:30 Wednesday night. Governor Ron DeSantis said the damage was significant, but the storm surge was not as bad as predicted. Tampa was spared a direct hit, but the strong winds shredded the roof of the Tropicana Field, home to the Tampa Bay Rays.
This is the power of Hurricane Milton.
The winds toppling a huge construction crane. In Clearwater, first responders have been out since before daybreak, rescuing people from high water.
I'm just glad we're out and to safety and to where we can charge up our phones because I don't have any power because of my family is probably wondering where I'm at.
Milton marched across the state overnight, dumping 16 inches of rainfall and leaving a trail of damage, downed trees, flattened homes, and widespread power outages. More than 3 million people are in the dark. Before striking Florida's Gulf Coast, Milton's outer bands spawned more than 30 tornadoes, damaging dozens of homes, including a retirement community, taking a number of lives.
We have fatalities we need to find. We have folks that we want to rescue. And so that's the important part here.
President Biden is promising federal assistance.
People of Florida and all the impacted states, we've got your back.
Relief workers from CBN's Operation Blessing will begin moving into the areas of Florida hardest hit by Hurricane Milton to help victims begin cleaning up and provide basic necessities like hot meals. They're taking generators, mobile kitchens, chainsaws, and construction equipment to help the victims. They're also ready to give spiritual comfort and prayer.
This is a huge opportunity for us to go in and be a blessing to people who maybe don't know the Lord otherwise. And so while this is definitely us meeting tangible needs and meeting physical needs, it's a real opportunity spiritually. Operation
Blessing teams are currently in North Carolina and Georgia, helping folks devastated by Hurricane Helene. Now they're ready to assist the people of Florida.
So it stretches you thin, but again, the Lord is with us. He opens door after door. We've seen his favor every step of the way, and we're just so grateful for the chance to go in and help these people who are hurting.
Operation Blessing welcomes volunteers, donations, and prayer. Lori Johnson, CBN News.
Well, people in remote parts of western North Carolina are still waiting for help after Hurricane Helene devastated their communities. Operation Blessing teams are taking to the air to reach isolated areas with water purification systems, solar lights, and emergency food packages. CBN's George Thomas has more.
In Fairview, North Carolina, Jess and Chris Jager face significant hurdles in the aftermath of Hurricane Helene.
Just this morning we were talking about it'll be months before we can, I don't know, take showers more regularly, have enough drinking waters.
Their small town, nestled in the hills and dense forest southeast of Asheville, was one of the hardest hit areas. Roads in and out of Fairview remain impassable or destroyed, making it a huge challenge to get aid, especially clean water, to this area. The couple's main source, a nearby creek, is contaminated with hazardous materials.
Who knows what chemicals in there? I mean, there's cans of paint thinners, there's, countless cans of gas and diesel.
They had only 60 gallons of water on hand when raging waters swept through their community.
We were just planning on living off that as long as we could, which most people use like over 100 in one shower.
Fantastic. Thanks, sir.
Operation Blessing literally flew in using helicopters to deliver vital supplies, including a water filtration system capable of producing clean water. OB teamed up with pilot Joe Hurston to reach the Jagers and others trapped in some of these isolated communities.
The scope and the depth of this destruction is staggering. Everywhere you look, there are isolated areas, rivers, bridges gone, roads gone, houses gone.
Hurston has been flying into disaster areas around the world for more than 40 years. This one hit especially close to home, as he lives less than 2 hours away and jumped into action immediately. On this relief mission, he's carrying several 29-pound cases containing a machine that can produce up to 25 gallons of clean water an hour, enough for 1,000 people.
We get this miracle machine dropped into our lap by God that can take sewer water and make it pure on less electricity than a light bulb.
The filtration system, set up by the creek, quickly began producing fresh water.
Hearing that we could reliably pull water from our creek again just kind of brought me to tears and made me really emotional.
Jessa's neighbor, Justin Hansen, is also thankful.
The water filtration system's great. I think it'll be fun to get that and get water to everybody around us.
Hansen pointed out that the creek, which once caused such devastation, is now a source of hope.
Our chickens are gonna die.
Yes, they are. Just a few days earlier, they stood on the banks watching in disbelief as the rising waters swept away their mother's home. As many survivors remain without food and power, Operation Blessing continues to provide solar lights and emergency meal packages.
People have been without power for many, many days now and have no clue when it's going to come back on. So these solar lights are going to allow them to be able to see at night.
While clean water and essential supplies bring hope and relief to families like the Jagers, Operation Blessing teams also see an opportunity to highlight the power of community and compassion in times of crisis. George Thomas, CBN News.
Well, it's certainly difficult working in Western Carolina, but it's absolutely necessary to do it. And whether we have to airlift or truck in or whatever we need to do to help those people, we're doing it, and we're doing it in your name if you're contributing to the Operation Blessing Disaster Relief Fund. If you're a member of the 700 Club, you're also part of that relief effort, because a portion of every gift you give goes into the work of Operation Blessing. If you want to give to people in need, call us, 1-800-700-7000. Just say, I want to be part of Operation Blessing Disaster Relief Fund. You can write disaster relief in the memo line of a check, mail it to us at CBN Center, Virginia Beach, Virginia, 23463. You can call 1-800-700-7000. You can go to cbn.com. There's a place on the giving page where you can designate your gift. You can also text OBDR to 71777. If you want to volunteer to help people in Georgia and Western North Carolina, we have a special number for you. There it is, 1-800-730-2537, or you can go to ob.org/volunteer. We don't have volunteer availability yet in Florida. We haven't set up our base of operation, but in Georgia and in Western North Carolina, we need volunteers. And so if you want to help people in need, again, let's get that number up, 1-800-730-2537, or you can go to ob.org/volunteer. Well, in other news, Hezbollah launched more than 200 rockets at Israel yesterday. John Jessup has more on that story from our CBN News Bureau in Washington. John?
Thanks, Gordon. And 2 Israeli citizens died in those attacks. Also on Wednesday, for the first time in 50 days, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu spoke with President Biden by phone. Biden reportedly said the United States won't let Lebanon become another Gaza. Still, the administration supports Israel's efforts to diminish Hezbollah. The State Department points out that the terror group has violated a UN resolution for nearly 2 decades.
Hezbollah was supposed to put down its arms, and it was supposed to withdraw beyond the Litani River. And over the 18 years since that resolution was implemented, they refused to do either of those things.
Meanwhile, in Gaza, Hamas leader Yahya Sinwar is once again seeking guarantees for his own life. Jewish News Syndicate reports he's exploring the possibility of receiving immunity in any ceasefire for hostages deal. Well, during this week of remembrance, Israel is still reeling from October 7th. The ideological roots of Hamas's massacre are found inside the group's charter. As CBN's Dale Hurd explains, the document is the terror group's blueprint for the ultimate destruction of Israel.
No one who has read the Hamas Charter should be surprised by the slaughter that took place October 7. Created at the terror group's founding, it states that Israel will exist and will continue to exist until Islam will obliterate it.
Genocide of Jews.
Jonathan Conricus is a former IDF spokesman and a senior fellow at the Foundation for Defense of Democracies.
The Hamas Charter is a charter to perform genocide against Israelis and to annihilate the state of Israel as we know it.
It's full of references to the destruction of Israel.
Hillel Frisch is a senior researcher at the Jerusalem Institute for Security and Strategy.
The document has one very specific purpose, and that is to call for the destruction of the state of Israel, to organize all Muslims for that purpose, and create a military terrorist force.
An offshoot of Egypt's Muslim Brotherhood, the name Hamas is an Arabic acronym for Islamic Resistance Movement. Its original charter reads like something written in Nazi Germany. Article 22 says of Jews, with their money they took control of the world media, news agencies, the press, publishing houses, broadcasting stations, and others. The document blames Jews for the French and Communist revolutions, World Wars I and II, and states Jews created the United Nations to enable them to rule the world. There is no war going on anywhere, the document reads, without having Jews' finger in it. The charter even blames Jews for the creation of the Rotary and Lions clubs, which Hamas apparently sees as sinister forces. The document also quotes from the Quran and from a Muslim hadith. The day of judgment will not come about until Muslims fight Jews and kill them. Then the Jews will hide behind rocks and trees, and the rocks and trees will cry out, "O Muslim, there is a Jew hiding behind me. Come and kill him." Hamas issued a revised charter in 2017, which softened some of the original's violent and anti-Semitic rhetoric. However, Conricus says the October 7th massacre exposed the revised charter as a fraud.
All that was a smokescreen, and Hamas very cleverly misled Israeli decision makers until they revealed what their real intentions were, and they did that on October the 7th.
Article 13 in the original charter rejects any negotiated settlement and says the only solution for the Palestinian question is jihad, holy war. Frisch says the dilemma over negotiating with Hamas is that it would likely allow the group to remain in power.
And within 2-3 years, they'll be exactly at the same point as they were on October 6th, the day before the slaughter.
Hopefully, in the future, there will be peace to be made with the Palestinians. Many Israelis want to make peace with the Palestinians. Israel has tried, but there's no peace to be made with Hamas.
That's because the Hamas Charter forbids peace until Israel is destroyed. Dale Hurd, CBN News.
Hard to deny the words written in the charter.
Deny, and what is amazing to me is that there are protesters on American campuses, there are protesters on the streets of New York City on the same day that we're having memorials for the dead of October 7th. They're out calling for more killing, that Israel needs to be wiped out. And the whole lie that Israel is this apartheid state, that there's some kind of horrible oppression happening. It's all this ideology, and it's fundamentalist Muslim ideology, that if a land is under Sharia law and it ever loses that designation, it's the obligation of every Muslim to reconquer it so that Sharia law can be reestablished. That is the fundamental here. Whether it's the Muslim Brotherhood or Hamas or Hezbollah or Fatah, any one of these groups, that is their core ideology. And so they're trying to be very good Muslims, and they're using the Quran to justify the slaughter and genocide of Jews. That is what's happening here. We've been saying it since October 7th. You have to look at their charter. You have to look at their founding document. It's quite clear what they're spelling out. And the whole October 7th massacre, it was called Al-Aqsa Flood. And Al-Aqsa is the mosque in Jerusalem. What they wanted is to go all the way to Jerusalem and take back all of Israel. That's what they wanted. And that's what they dedicated and still dedicate their lives to do. So when you see these headlines, when you see someone claiming from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free, what they're calling for is genocide. They're calling for the slaughter of Jews. When the UN says Israel can't ban UNRWA, if they do, there'll be drastic consequences. Well, UNRWA should be designated a terrorist organization. Employees of UNRWA were part of October 7th. UNRWA funds went into this ideological training at every single one of the schools. The Hamas headquarters were based in the basement of UNRWA buildings. All of this done with our taxpayer money. Let's stop this fiction that somehow or other you can negotiate with that. The answer is no. They themselves say we can't negotiate with you. We're only dedicated to wiping you out. So let's learn from Hezbollah. Here there was a negotiated settlement. They supposedly agreed to withdraw to a geographical point that would have a buffer zone that would be overseen by the UN. None of that happened. They violated that treaty on the first day. And so today you have 200 rockets pouring into Israel from Hezbollah. And still you have world leaders saying, well, we need to have a ceasefire immediately. Well, Hezbollah isn't about to cease fire. And you can't expect Israel to just sit there and take it. They have to respond. They have to meet these threats head on and say, not in our lifetime. We have vowed never again. The entire world did that after World War II. And here we are in our generation, in our time, right now. Never again. You never get to declare jihad against the Jewish people. You never get to declare genocide. You never get to say from the river to the sea. No, that's not going to happen on our watch. We stand with Israel.